How does breathing restore the brain? Rhythms, hormones, and the discovery of energy, breathing. Imagine that your brain's an orchestra. There's a theta flute, alpha oboe, delta contrabass. All of them play a unique tune, ideally in harmony, but in reality, this symphony sounds more like a cacophony. We wake up tired. We go to bed with thoughts that prevent us from falling asleep. We live in a state of overstimulation. When brain rhymes are synchronized, we are productive and calm. We are alive. But when one rhythm suppresses the others, we lose clarity, lose focus, lose the connection to an inner self. Beta rhythm, whose primary function is keeping us focused on completing tasks, takes on too much of a load. We can't relax even at night. Theta and alpha rhythms, necessary for creativity and recovery, are completely out of the picture. Today's story starts right here. The story of how our breathing, something we do thousands of times a day, can become the most precise tool in tuning our brain, fixing hormone levels, and adjusting our psycho-emotional state. We'll talk about brain waves, hormonal cascades, Eastern cultural practices, and Western scientific discoveries. And you'll learn how an inhale can become your reset button, only using electric impulses instead of tools. These are the very brain waves, brain rhythms. They control your sleep, attention, emotions. They are responsible for both success and failure. When the rhythms are well coordinated, you are energetic, focused, calm. But if this music stutters, you feel anxious at night and sleepy during the day. Feels familiar? Even after 10 hours of sleep, you're exhausted. It's all because of brain rhythms and our breathing. In this video, we'll talk about how our consciousness works from the neurophysiological point of view, to what extent breathing influences our well-being, and what practices can help stimulate memory, intuition, and resources. Please watch this video till the end, guys, because I included practical exercises that you can try today. So, let's get started. A social issue. Stress has become a pandemic of the 21st century. According to the WHO, depression and anxiety disorders are the top 3 reasons for the loss of working capacity all over the world. Harvard Medical School research demonstrates that chronic stress raises the risks of cardiovascular diseases, sleep disturbance, and cognitive depletion. In 2023, the British NHS recorded that every 5th teenager exhibits symptoms of clinical anxiety. Emotional burnout is at its peak in Russia and Europe, and often it affects not only adults, but children too. We sleep, but don't recover. We work, but can't concentrate. We rest, but don't feel at peace. It isn't a subjective feeling. This is a neurophysiological malfunction, guys. Brain rhythms get out of balance. Alpha is rare, theta is blocked, and beta is going through the roof, overloaded with continuous stress. And more often, this state is accompanied by hormonal imbalance and attention depletion. We're in a state of constant agitation, when even sleeping doesn't give any rest, and days get bleak and senseless. But there's a solution, and it relies on the rhythms of our breathing. Search for a solution. In different places and at different times, humanity was looking for a way to restore inner peace and find inner strength. In the East, through breathing and meditation, pranayama in Hinduism, breathing through Dantian in Taoism, careful, conscious breathing as a way to tune the mind in Tibet traditions. Though all of these practices are aimed at finding inner peace and waking the mind up, the most important thing is to control breathing, and as a result, the state of the body. In the West, through technology and medical protocols, neurofeedback, AIG monitoring, HRV training, and even psychopharmacology. Here, the trust is placed in metrics, diagnostics, simulation, and control using various devices and medication. The difference in methods is obvious. The East is all about rhythms and feelings. The West trusts in analysis and correction. However, these days a connection is being established between them. Practices that use breathing as a controlled biological tool backed up by scientific research. Right there, a new field is being born. The neurophysiology of breathing. What if our breathing isn't just a physiological function, but an ancient, undervalued mechanism for tuning our mind? Not an application, not a pill, not expensive equipment, but something we do 20,000 times a day can become the most accessible and effective tool of inner transformation. Let's see how exactly it's done. The science of brain rhythms. A brain isn't just an organ, it's a dynamic system, operating on waves. Just imagine, 86 billion neurons, trillions of electric impulses per second. Each of our states is a wave equation, and each state has its frequency. For example, delta wave's frequency is from 0, 5 to 4 hertz. It turns on during sleep when the brain clears out and the body recovers. Right then, the growth hormone activates. The more your body's in the delta state, the healthier you are, my friends. Just remember the deepest sleep in your life. Or think about Jogi, who enter a state of samatha, Lama Itigalov, post-mortem Tukdam meditation. An imperishable body in itself is a stable delta rhythm. Theta wave's frequency is from 4 to 8 hertz. It's a rhythm of childhood, imagination, and hypnosis. It activates in moments of artistic creation, coming up with ideas and insights, or when entering a state of trance. Scientists record spontaneous image generation and memory activation while at the theta frequency. It's a rhythm of dreamers, artists, shamans. Just remember Mendeleev, who saw the periodic table in his sleep. Alpha wave's frequency is from 8 to 12 hertz. It's a golden standard of focus. It's active when we're relaxed, but attentive when the eyes are closed, but the consciousness is awake. Alpha is key to clear thinking and the ability to resist distractions. A modern man lacks this very frequency. Beta wave's frequency is from 13 to 30 hertz. It's an engine of the outside world. It activates when we work, complete tasks, argue, but too much of it results in anxiety and overstrain. Chronic stress is essentially getting stuck in beta rhythms like a car in the mud with its wheels spinning. Gamma wave's frequency is from 30 to 100 hertz. It's the most intense rhythm of brain activity. It's connected to the moments of clarity, simultaneous processing of big data amounts, and field synchronization. Experienced meditators achieve gamma rhythm in states of bliss and clarity. Let's remember Julius Caesar, who was a master of multitasking. But brain rhythms don't exist in isolation. They are connected to the hormonal system. Cortisol amplifies beta rhythm, melatonin fuels alpha rhythm, and delta sleep directly affects the growth hormone release. Estrogen and progesterone modulate alpha and theta activities depending on the phase of a menstrual cycle. Have you heard of a hormone called allopregnanolone, my friends? It's a neurosteroid that can intensify gamma rhythms. Brain rhythms are actually a language a brain uses when talking to a body. And today we'll learn how to read this language and, more importantly, how to speak it using our breathing. Energy breathing and our discovery. In 2016, I went to India to become a yoga teacher and obtain an international diploma. But somehow I fell ill with typhoid fever. Guys, in case you don't know, this is a deadly disease, which I didn't even treat for some time. I lacked knowledge and experience on the matter, so I delayed getting professional help. What exactly was wrong with me was unclear. As a result, I was on the verge of death. and trying to ease the suffering, I started breathing in a certain way, switching breathing phases, music styles, and subsequently rhythms, because each music style has its own rhythm. This way, I made it through the next 24 hours. It really helped me. For sure, you can't cure typhoid fever this way, but it did ease my pain. During those 24 hours, I managed to get medical attention. All that saved my life. So later I've written this technique down. It's a special technique that literally saved my life. I named it energy breathing. It's a practice where breathing becomes a tool for tuning the brain, the body, and focus in general. And in order to prove it not only on an intuitive level, but on a scientific one as well, we had done research in the Skoltech laboratory supported by the Moscow State University. In 2024, a group of 20 volunteers had a session of breathing practices in rhythms of 6, 20, 45, and 100 cycles per minute. We did the EEG and ECG tests, recorded the stress level and the heart rate variability, and the results turned out not just positive, but outstanding. Only 12 minutes of breathing and brain activity changes. Theta and alpha rhythms that are responsible for artistic creation and focus rapidly intensify, yet beta rhythms, tension and anxiety decrease. It means that the brain transitions to a more balanced, resourceful state. And all of that without any pills or outside stimulation, just your breathing. For example, at 6 inhales, exhales a minute alpha, and theta rhythms amplify, stress level decreases and the heart starts beating in a smoother way. It's the ideal rhythm for body recovery, sleep, and lowering tachycardia. Now, I'm going to show you the breathing technique of 6 cycles a minute. Please, sit comfortably, close your eyes, and listen to this rhythm of breathing. Adjust your own breathing to this rhythm and watch your senses. Listen to my voice. I'll be guiding you in this practice. Inhale through the nose, exhale with the mouth. Strictly maintain the rhythm of your breathing. Pause. Inhale through the nose. Exhale with the mouth. Strictly maintain the rhythm of your breathing. Stop. Breathe through the nose slowly and deeply. A deep inhale and exhale. Continue breathing very slowly and very deeply.
Продолжай дышать очень медленно и глубоко.
Well, I hope you felt the effect. Please, share your experience in the comments if you'd like. The next rhythm is 20 to 45 inhales, exhales per minute. This rhythm amplifies concentration. It ideally suits for tuning into work and keeping focused on the process. Now I'll show you the next breathing technique. It'll be 20 and 45 cycles per minute, a throw-phase practice. Again, please, sit comfortably, close your eyes, and listen to this rhythm. Adjust your own breathing to this rhythm and watch your senses. Listen to my voice only during this practice. Let's go.
Вдох нос.
Breathe. Inhale through the nose, exhale with the mouth. Strictly maintain the rhythm of your breathing. Inhale through the nose, exhale with the mouth. Strictly maintain the rhythm of your breathing. stop. Breathe through the nose slowly and deeply. A deep inhale and exhale.
Делай глубокий вдох и выдох. Продолжай дышать очень
Continue
медленно,
breathing
глубоко.
very slowly and very deeply.
Вдох
Inhale through the
носом,
nose, exhale with the
выдох
mouth.
ртом.
Strictly
Строго
maintain the
соблюдай
rhythm of your
ритм
breathing.
дыхания. Стоп.
Stop. Breathe through the nose slowly and deeply.
Делай
Deep
глубокий
inhale
вдох и выдох.
and exhale.
Продолжай дышать.
Continue breathing
очень
very
медленно и
slowly
глубоко.
and very deeply.
Глубоко, очень медленно и глубоко, очень медленно.
Well, how do you feel? Please describe your experience, what you felt during this practice in the comments, and also consider subscribing if you haven't yet. Here, guys, you can find everything about breathing and about our brain. Let's move on to the rhythm of 100 inhale-exhale cycles per minute. It seems too intense, but this very rhythm triggers not only a continuous beta activity of the brain, but also theta activity in a calm window that comes after this rhythm of breathing. By the way, this is a powerful method to shake the system up, get rid of the tension, and then enter deep relaxation. And now, I'll show you a simple breathing technique in the rhythm of 100 cycles per minute. The same thing, please. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and listen to this rhythm of breathing in the recording. Here, you'll need to breathe through your mouth. Adjust your breathing to this rhythm and watch your senses. It's better to sit down like I do. Listen to my voice. I'll be guiding you in this practice.
Стоп.
Stop. Breathe through the nose slowly and deeply. A deep inhale and exhale.
Делай глубокий вдох и выдох. Продолжай дышать.
Continue breathing very
очень
slowly
медленно и глубоко.
and very deeply. Well, how do you feel now? Please, share your thoughts in the comments. If you'd like to do a full practice, I have lots of them on this channel. Or you could look in the description of this video. There's a link to my Telegram channel. In there, you can find these practices and even a mini course on brain rhythms. It's a detailed mini course with more information on the topic.
Ну что, друзья?
Well, guys, do you get it? Then I realized that breathing isn't just a technique, it's an interface, a language that helps us talk to the brain and the body. And we're at the very beginning of this dialogue. The results turned out to be really impressive. Only 12 minutes of breathing in frequencies of 6, 20, 45, and 100 inhales per minute, and brain rhythms change, literally. Alpha and theta rhythms amplify, beta rhythm decreases, the parasympathetic system activates, one's anxiety drops, And it's true for anyone who practices the breathing technique. And it means that you unlock unlimited potential of the body and mind. It's not just breathing, guys. It's a method of controlled neuroregulation without pharmaceuticals or a rain dance. The research has demonstrated that 6 inhales per minute activate alpha and theta rhythms, reduce stress. 20 and 45 inhales per minute increase concentration. 100 or more inhales per minute mobilize, but then induce deep relaxation. Hormones and rhythms. In order to understand how brain rhythms control our consciousness, we need to take into account another powerful system, the hormonal one. Hormones are a so-called middleman between our body and emotions and brain waves. For example, cortisol is the main hormone of stress. When its level rises, beta activity intensifies. It increases focus, mobilizes, but in the long run, it results in anxiety and burnout. People who live in a state of chronic stress always get stuck in beta rhythm at this very frequency. Even sleep doesn't really help such people. Melatonin, in turn, intensifies alpha and theta rhythms. It helps the body enter a state of relaxation, fall asleep, and start recovery processes. At night, when melatonin is at its most active, the brain more easily switches to theta and delta states. Estrogen and progesterone are important women's rhythm modulators. Depending on the phase of a menstrual cycle, the intensity of alpha and theta rhythms changes, which explains fluctuations in focus, creativity, sensitivity. For instance, in the lutein phase, alpha activity dominates. There appears a sense of calmness, inner wholeness. The growth hormone somatotropin mostly produces during a deep sleep phase accompanied by delta rhythms. It's a very deep sleep when you don't have any dreams. That's why going to bed before midnight, when delta is at its most active, is so important for our body and psyche recovery. Neurosteroids such as allopregnanolone deserve special attention. They modulate GABA receptors and intensify the brain's gamma activity, which is connected to comprehensive perception, empathy, and a state of that very flow. All of that means that, using our breathing, we can indirectly affect our hormonal system, activate the parasympathetic one, and, in turn, reduce the level of cortisol, add melatonin, and improve heart rate variability. Through all that, we can change the wave profile of our brain between chaos and focus. You don't need to suppress the hormones. Learning how to work together with them will be enough. Estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, melatonin, each of them significantly impacts brain rhythms and vice versa. But breathing, as it turns out, can affect the hormonal balance through the vegetative nervous system. That way, a simple inhale becomes a neuroendocrinological key. Conclusion and recommendations. The world is getting faster. Algorithms, deadlines, notifications. We live in a world where focus becomes a currency and silence a luxury, but there's a way to get the control back. The way that doesn't require gadgets or long retreats. It's our breathing, the oldest interface, the very entrance into our own biological system. Try it for yourself. 6 inhales per minute before bedtime will prepare your body for recovery, synchronize alpha and theta rhythms, reduce anxiety. 20 inhales per minute before work will activate focus and cognitive productivity. More than 100 inhales per minute when in the need of a shake-up, quick mobilization, and then significant tension drop. If you'd like to know more, in the description of this video, there's a link to my course, Breathing and the Brain. It's not just a course, it's your personal protocol on restoring focus, sleep, energy, and psychophysical sustainability. In the course, you can find practices, scientific proof, and get necessary support at each stage. And if you like some everyday motivation, welcome to our Telegram channel. There you'll find mini courses, live sessions, Q&As, and a community of people who already breathe consciously. And most importantly, start with something small. One conscious inhale can change a lot. See you in the next video. Bye.